Good morning, friends. It's currently the last weekend in October, and we're going to be setting up the flower stand together and planting a lot more tulips. I also have some volunteer work that I'm going to get done today. But first matter of business is getting the flower stand set up with lots of orange dahlias. The weather has been all over the place this past week. We got down into the high 30s. Now we're up into the high 70s. And last night when I looked, we had a frost warning listed for Thursday. Now it looks like not anymore. So we'll see what happens in terms of selling cut flowers in November. But I will be selling cut flowers in December. I'm going to be selling some different evergreen bunches. I also wanted to let you guys know that I decided how I wanted to go about selling the cut amaryllis. So what I'm going to do, providing the weather is okay and I can open my stand, is continue to open my stand back up in December as soon as those amaryllis are ready. And I priced it out, and I think what I'm going to do is vases just like the one that I made first, where it's these cylindrical vases from the dollar store with mixed evergreens and berries from my property, either evergreens that I planted or ones that were already here. And then go ahead and just do one beautiful big stem of amaryllis right in the front. I think that pricing will work out at the $20 price mark that I have for my bouquets. So we're just doing mixed bunches today with Forsythia, Marn, and Cornell Bronze mainly. So I thought I'd answer a few dahlia questions as we work together. Someone asked on a previous dahlia video that I did, what's the right pH for soil where you plan to grow dahlias if you're starting a new dahlia patch? And to the best of my understanding, the ideal pH for dahlias is 6.5 to 6.8, and I tend to hover closer to 6.5, 6.6. I also saw a great question about growing dahlias in the borders, and I can overlay some footage for you here of this answer, but they were talking about how to support the larger dahlias in a flower border so that you don't have stakes all over the place, which I thought was a great question. And just this past year, I've started to use the half moon peony hoops to support dahlias that are going to top out at about 4 feet tall. Even something like Cornell, which might come to fruition at about 5 feet tall, I have these peony hoops around the base. And as long as I'm keeping up with cutting Cornell, when we take a garden tour probably tomorrow, you'll see my Cornell plants have basically no flowers on them anymore. But when I'm cutting Cornell as heavily as I should, it is able to stay upright without a stake as long as I put that peony hoop at the base of the plant itself. One question that I saw, which I thought was a really great question, was about the dahlias having weak stems, and they noted that a popular cultivar, I think they actually said it was either Cornell or Cornell Bronze, had very weak stems with them, which would be unusual for a cultivar such as Cornell or Cornell Bronze. So my best advice there is to go ahead and get a soil test. My guess is that you might be lacking calcium in your soil. That will usually result in weak stems. The only other thing I can think of is the dahlia might not be getting enough sun. If a dahlia is grown in part sun or of course shade, it will fail to flower well and the stems will be weak and spindly. But if you're growing them in full sun and still getting weak spindly stems, I would definitely go for that soil test. See if you're having a calcium deficiency or some kind of mineral deficiency in your soil. Sometimes a calcium deficiency will also result in the head of the dahlia having a bad connection to the stem itself, or basically being really wobbly on the stem. Now, sometimes that's just variety specific, but once again, if you're working with a variety that you know is a really reliable cut flower, like Cornell Bronze, like Marn that we used today, and the head is wobbling all around on the stem, that could also be a calcium deficiency. And I would definitely think about getting a soil test to see if that is in fact what's going on. So let's go ahead and add these to the flower stand and we'll see how we make out on this Halloween weekend.